Welcome back to a best of 3 series of top level StarCraft 2. Today it's time for a Zerg versus Terran, where in game number 1 in the bottom right hand corner, joined by the little polar bear on the main command center, we're looking inside of the main base of Liquid Clem. That's how Cyril calls him. In the upper left, playing in red, a man whose username gets typoed all the freaking time. I see this way too frequently. It seems to bother me a lot more, though, than it bothers none other than a rogue. As a matter of fact, I've never heard rogue complain about it. To be fair, rogue is one of those words that, like, the longer that you stare at the spelling of it, the least it doesn't make any sense. Now, most people spell rogue as rouge. It is what it is. It's one of those things that, I guess, very easily happens. Clem's username, though, a little bit more straightforward. His name is simply Clement, and he decided to just take the first 4 letters of his name, and that became his username. I could have done the same thing. It could have been Simon. Somehow the pronunciation became more French as well. What a beautiful thing. Actually, it took me a long time to come up with a username that I didn't absolutely hate. Growing up as a young gamer, I had many usernames, and I never really liked any of them. For some reason, though, at some point I decided to run with the name Loco. A lot of people assume that therefore I am Spanish. I'm not. I don't even... no idea. We get a lot of languages in school, but I actually never had... I never had Spanish in school. Either way, I guess right now it's kind of stuck, huh? Yeah, I don't think I can really go ahead and change my username now. But you know what? Out of all the gamer tags that I've run with in my very long and very old life, I think Loco is definitely the best one. The first one I ran for a long time was Felix Chanel. Felix Chanel. Felix was the name of a friend's cat. I didn't even have a cat named Felix. JE is just like the Dutch suffix to make something small. So this was like Little Felix. And then the username was taken, so I added a 0 at the end. The hell was that, Loco? You dumb? Why are you naming yourself after... Anyways, Reaper is out right now for Clem. Excellent username, by the way, Clem. I think it's very strong. Yeah, Felix the cat looked exactly like Felix the cat from the commercial. I think that's why they named him Felix, because he looked exactly like it. All right, I'm assuming we're going to go into a starport here in a moment right here for Clem. Opening up with his beloved triple command center 111. We'll go for the switcheroo. Pump out those Hellions 2 at a time. Oh, and it's not a starport. Instead, we're going to go into a very quick second barracks. Okay. Okay. Technically a little bit riskier. This can leave you somewhat vulnerable to roach pushes and all the rest of it, but not really that big of an issue right here for Clem. The odds of Rogue going for a roach opener, they're relatively low anyways. The odds for Rogue going for a roach push or a roach all-in, pretty much 0. He will finish up Stimpack at a reasonable time, and as soon as that upgrade is done, Terran is super safe yet again. It's going to be about 5 minutes of in-game time. Oh, and you know what? Nice little pesky Zergling here. Rouge ends up seeing exactly what the opponent is going for. Reaper goes into the main base. He wants to see if he's safe. Yeah, he doesn't really want to dive too deep, though, and see exactly what's going on. I'm actually curious. If you picked a username, right? Like, did you stick with, like, your first gamer tag? Because for Clem, I think that's pretty much... I mean, there's no way he ran multiple usernames, right? Like, maybe. But Clem started playing this game at, like, the age of 6 or something. Maybe 8. I highly doubt he's been running multiple names since then. I had, like, a dozen different gamer tags that I played under for a long time. Before ultimately settling on Loco. Do most people run through, like, many different names on the internet? I would imagine so, right? Rogue, actually? Dude, I don't remember this, but if you look at Rogue's alternate usernames on his Wikipedia... let me just get it exactly right. One sec. This is one of my favorite things about Rogue, okay? If you look at his alternate IDs, he used to play under the nickname Climax. With the capitalized gamer M and everything. Anyways, back to the game we go. Another great username for Björn. Björn used to apparently play for a short period of time under the username Excrement. I think sometimes the Koreans just like pick cool sounding English words and then run with it. Excrement is a pretty cool sounding word. Climax is, you know, it's up there. Maybe not the best gamer tags though. Matter of fact, Drop is gonna move out for a little bit, I'm assuming. Do we not go back? Oh, you get to live for a little bit longer, Otto. Congratulations. Matter of fact, Drop is likely gonna be heading on over towards the potential 4th hatch. And you know what? The timing is perfect. Men with gun. Nice snipe. And you know what? Otto is like... he's like a little snack. He will still be there to die later. Matter of fact, Drop is gonna elevator into the main. Spore Crawler will get sniped. Very nice. Queen dying. Zerglings dying. This is an absolute disaster here for Rogue. Oh. He was thinking about leaving 2 little Marines behind as a gift. And then decided better of it. And when do we go and take our snack? This is like leaving a candy bar on your nightstand. He's gonna get it. Yeah. Second factory coming up out front right now as well for Clem. He'll probably be firing up a 4th command center here momentarily. Oh, there it is. Poor Otto, man. He's been getting abused for decades now. Okay, maybe a decade and a half. Now, one saving grace here for Rogue is that he is going to be able to grab all of the Hellions. Except one. That one's kept alive just so he can relay the story to the rest of the Terran army. Fair enough. But all of this is not too hot for Rogue. Don't get me wrong, this isn't an impossible spot. But it is one of those situations that does become progressively more difficult. Clem is very good in these momentum-heavy games. So luckily here, right, for Rogue, this is not an 8 Rex all-in. So he's currently on 5 Rex, fired up the 2nd factory, 4th command center on the back of it, and then we'll go for 3 more barracks. Luckily for Rogue, this is not an 8 Rex, because I think it would have been very oppressive. But this is also, likewise, not an easy opponent or an easy follow-up to go up against, though. A couple of the Banelings there get sniped before he ultimately picked up. Hydra then coming up here. Or Hydra transition coming up here for Rogue. But at this stage in the game, you kind of want to have your hive finishing. Whereas Rogue is just kind of stuck on this mid-game army now with a very mediocre economy as well to boot. There is a double expo. So Clem doesn't actually know of either of the 2 bases, although he's going to check here in just a sec. Nice targeting on the baits. Oh, picks it up just barely. Not bad. Siege tank positioning. Which spicy spot are we going to go for? There's a couple of nice locations here. Little Zergling counterattack here. Could actually be nice. Clem is out onto the map. Okay, we're not going to go for any spicy positionings on the siege tanks because he sees the amount of units out. What about the Baneling roll by? Marines trying their best. 6 SCVs have died. A couple of army units here for the Terran will likely fall as well. Marauder gets unloaded on the other side. Nice targeting yet again. Sorry, lads. There was room in the plane, but you weren't fast enough. Okay, you know what? This little drama here for Rogue, it has bought him a bunch of time. He's going to celebrate now with a few infestors and a hive. 2-2 though is just moments away from being done right here for Clem. He's got the additional 3 barracks done here inside of the main base. They all got little tech labs attached to them, so we'll probably see a Ghost Academy momentarily too. And we can start pumping out the troops, although in this instance you can just go for Mass Marauder Marine instead. And start, well, moving out. By the way, there have been a lot of Zerg players lately. When going up against Clem, they have purposely kind of been treating the Baneling as a late-game unit. It seems that the European Zergs have been... Yeah, they've come to an agreement that, like, it's not worth playing mid-game Banelings against Clem. And you can kind of see this target firing right now. This is nice, though. The target firing is what makes it so freaking good. Infestors have been taking a very nice advantage lately. Infestors just, yeah, shut down a lot of that micro. Clem, of course, usually leans into that a ton. Don't think there's enough units this time around, though, remaining here for Clem to really get the job done on this base. It'll be the first time he has seen those Infestors. The follow-up here for Rogue is going to be a Lurker Den, and honestly, the fact that Clem did not really go for the base here in the far bottom left and seems to be zeroed in on trying to kill this hatchery over here, it is 100% keeping Rogue in this game. As a matter of fact, Clem may make the assumption here that this base is not even up. He hasn't confirmed it. It would have been a relatively easy, yeah, line of attack for him, so maybe therefore he assumed that Rogue would never take it, but he took it super quickly. And now Rogue is going to be able to get his late game transition going. Clem may actually assume here that this is mostly 3-base Zerg this entire way through. So he's just kind of throwing units at the problem, hoping that eventually this Zerg player is going to roll over and die. Well, if that ends up being the case, it's a massive miscalculation, because now with the amount of eco, Lurker play is on the horizon. And as soon as Lurkers are out, these type of attack paths are basically inaccessible. There they are. They're coming. Oh, big fungal, huge fungal. Banelings roll in. Rogue, man. Rogue is a fighter. Many people give up. When the fights don't go their way, many people give up, myself included. I tend to give up too early in my games of StarCraft. It's a problem. I'm ready to throw in the towel when the first fight doesn't go my way. Rogue never seems to have that issue. Rogue just keeps on going. Clem is now in a little bit of trouble. I mean, his eco is still good enough. He can transition into a macro game if he wants to, but this game is no longer going according to plan. He does have 3-3 coming, though. Ghost Academy now added into the mix. We've got ourselves a fusion core, additional command centers, and all the rest of it. But considering the absolutely terrible spot that Rogue was in earlier, I think this is going really well for him. Then again, though, matter of fact, drop. Oh, YOLO into the main base. That's 3 of them. No, 2 of them going down. Luckily, right there for Clem, I believe the ones that got targeted were the ones that were mostly empty. He is going for a Nidus Worm as well, so Rogue can start putting in a bit of pressure on the other side of the map. Medivacs over here, all gone. Clem for, yeah, just the most YOLO attack here. Decides to just throw the units into the main base. And this seems to me like a Clem tilt. I guess he never noticed the base in the bottom left. Kind of thought he had his opponent on the ropes this entire time. Saw the Lurkers. And then had a moment of, yeah, what do we call it? A moment of weakness. A moment where he figured, oh my god, not this again. Loaded up the Medivacs, threw them into the main base. Rogue is a beast. This is the reason that the man has, well, joined the Millionaires Club in StarCraft 2 quite a few years ago at this point. One of the earningest players in StarCraft. Is that a term that we can use? One of the most earningest. Orbital Command could have been lifted. Yeah, Clem had all the time in the world to make the switch to Liberators, to make the switch to Ghosts and all the rest of it. He decided we're not gonna go ahead and do that. Now the Lurkers are gonna be followed up as well, and more of those Lurkers in the Nidus Worm. Clem, though, certainly has potential still remaining in this game. He's now taken a new base in the upper right. He's still pumping out a ton of units. Rogue's economy is good, but not amazing. The creep spread, though, is really excellent. Yeah, you got the Nidus Worm, but he, at a similar speed, could just run units in this direction. Those Liberators are real nice, though. No advanced ballistics needed. There's just no real unit available here for the Zerg player to hit them with. I would love to see a few Vipers start up here for Rogue, if he can afford 1 or 2. That would be a big deal. Nidus Worm goes into the main base instead. This is absolutely critical to shut down right here for Clem. He cannot deal with a Zerg infestation popping up inside of his main base. Looks like another lurker here on the ramp is dealing a lot of damage. And immediately, as soon as that Terran army leaves the position, Rogue moves in, Liberators up in the air, siege tanks up on the high ground, it does not matter. Orbital command dies, 16 SCVs go down as well. Man, Rogue is an absolute monster. It feels a bit weird to call him, like, underrated, I suppose. Because he is one of the absolute best competitors ever since the early days of StarCraft 2. But whenever you ask, like, hey, who's the best Zerg in the world? I don't think a lot of people think of Rogue necessarily. But this guy is a beast, man. He really has that fighter instinct. And he never gives up. Like, he doesn't tap out until it's absolutely over. Not an emotional player at all. Wow, GG gets called. It's Rogue who wins the first game. Next up, we find ourselves on the map Winter Madness. Rogue. Yeah. I mean, he had to get a little lucky. I think Clem could have easily sniped, or maybe not easily, but he could have more easily sniped the base in the bottom left when it first got going. Rogue, though, decided to play... Okay, he did this crazy thing where he decided to play this strategy game. He took the more exposed base, hoping that his opponent wasn't going to see it. Had to take a bit of a risk after falling behind early on, but it, well, massively paid off. And now he suddenly finds himself with a 1-0 lead in this best of 3. So, one map away from becoming the victor. Clem does need to be a little bit careful. I feel like over the last few years, he has become a lot more emotional in his play. Or maybe he has started showing it more. He has become a little bit more tilted. He has done more keyboard smashes than ever before. Although most of those, as far as I know... I mean, normally you don't really play the games with a camera on your face, but... about a year or so ago, he did a bunch of Hulk smashes on camera. Never really did that in the past. I kind of feel like we had a similar moment in that previous game, though. Obviously, there was no smashing of the keyboard, but when he found out the lurkers were there, and he realized that there must be another base out there, and he loaded up 5 medevacs and just sort of sent it... That feels to me like an emotional response. Now, that drop wasn't actually that bad in the end. Rogue ended up getting a little bit unlucky with the medevacs that he could target down. I believe the ones that he targeted were empty. But if he would have sniped the medevacs that were full right away, I think, the game was pretty much over right then and there for Clem. Still, not the result that the Frenchman would be hoping for. It's gonna be a 1-1-1 right here for Clem off of 2 gas. Interesting. So no third command center. This is not really a build that's very popular anymore. It used to be the gold standard many moons ago. These days, the single gas opener with triple command center into 1-1-1 is the norm. This basically is a similar version of the build, similar units. Obviously, you get faster unit production, but less economy. Meaning that in order to be even with this type of opener, you have to deal some sort of damage to the Zerg. Whereas with the triple command center 1-1-1 opener, you don't really need to deal damage to be okay. Obviously, though, these cloaked Banshees are going to show up much earlier than Rogue normally has to deal with them. So there's a chance, I guess, that maybe he won't have detection done in time or anything along those lines. Now, Rogue has already gone into a super quick lair. So this is much sooner than what Zerg usually wants to go for. I guess we're going to go into a quick spire? Yeah, it has to be. Where are we going to be building it? Where will we put the spire down? Hydra, then. Okay, I'll shut up. Wait, we go very quick lair, 4 gases, and then into a Hydra den? Okay. So now we're just going to be flooding gas, right? Like, isn't that what we have here? Like, I don't see what we are going to do with the... As a matter of fact, actually, I'm not entirely sure how Rogue is planning on defending anything. Zerglings are now no longer really a possibility. He's got 500 gas. Banshee shows up. He will have seen, Clem that is, the gas is in the natural too. it will be something that he takes note of for sure. What is this, Rogue? I'm not exactly sure. Maybe he's got some sort of hydralisk timing attack cooking up, but he doesn't have any units. Maybe it's fine. Okay, Stimpack about maybe a minute or so away from being finished. Third Command Center did get added into the mix here. Clem is gonna go for an attack though, momentarily. And Rogue is gonna have pure Hydra Link to try and deal with it. Very Brood War-esque. Queen's taking a bit of a beating. Yep, they're gonna get roasted. And now the mineral line is going to be next. Interesting opener here for Rogue. It has to be said. Not going for any Evo Chamber upgrades. Not going for a Roach Warren. No Bailing Nest. This is Quick Lair with pure defensive Hydra. Yeah, so he got the speed upgrade for the Hydras first, and now he's getting the ranged upgrade for the Hydralisks. You will see now the timing of the third command center, and that's gonna set alarm bells off for sure. He knows that there is likely going to be a pretty scary push moving across the map momentarily. Now that's why these Lings are out here, to try and delay it in whatever way possible. There's actually a Rogue going for the push himself. Okay. I have seen something like this not too long ago. I didn't really love it back then. Maybe against a normal triple CC opener though, it's very powerful. He's actually just trying to target the base down. What is this Hydralisk timing attack here from Rogue? A Hydra timing. It doesn't even feel right to say those words in that order. Hydra timing attack? Oh, he's gonna jump the siege tanks? There's no way, Rogue. Just gonna get roasted. You can't even beat the Marines. Let alone the siege tanks. Oh, no. Yeah, there's a reason we don't normally see Hydra timing attacks. GG. Okay. That takes us to map number 3. The final game in his best of 3. And it will take place on Mothership. Yeah, I didn't really want to be too harsh about the Hydra opener, because usually we see players going for it in important tournaments. So this is from one of the recent online cups with $10,000 on the line. It's a significant amount of money. Usually, build orders that are chosen are only the tried and true ones. So I was wondering what Rogue was doing there. I was very confused about what Rogue was doing. But I didn't really want to be too critical about it, because I mean, he chose to bring it against the #1 Terran on the planet. It didn't work. It didn't even remotely work. Clem, sadly for him, sending out his first Reaper in the wrong direction. Maybe he will get a glimpse of the Overlord here in a moment. The Overlord has glimpsed him, but not the other way around. Rogue sees the CC start up. And that means that the Reaper is going to have to make the walk of shame all the way to the bottom. Aw, poor guy. Luckily, he's got his little cardboard animation shoulder pads. How many Reapers are we going to produce? He's got 2 of them out already. We're going to go up to 4? Yeah, 4. 2 to 5 Reapers is the norm. Do we go factory right now on the back of this? Or are we going to do what Bjorn has been doing, where he adds on a very quick 3rd barracks? Maybe we are. No. Factory in the main base instead. Okay, now with this amount of Reapers, you can put in some damage on the 3rd base of the Zerg. Link speed is only done in about a half-minute time. 4th Reaper is a necessity, though, in order to really get this job done. The Queens are going to be away from their brood for quite a while, but I think the hatchery will live. Nice targeting, though, by Clem. Yep, Clem microing like Clem does. That's a Queen going down. Goodbye. You know what? The Zerglings are going to be next. Honestly, the 2nd Queen is going to be next. Luckily here for Rogue, Link speed is now nearly finished, but he doesn't have that many Links. That's a 2nd Queen dying, and the 3rd hatchery is not even out of the woods yet. Now a ton of additional Links produced here for Rogue to get rid of these Reapers once and for all, but obviously that means that he is massively reducing his own workers. Okay. The Reapers are going to try and make their way home. I don't think they will. But that was a really strong start here for Clem. The counterattack is important to hold, though. He's been making add-ons on those structures. Only 2 Marines available. I think that the first tech lab may go down. Maybe even the reactor will go down, too. Yeah, this is mostly a Rogue just getting some sort of value. No, it's not repairable. He's checking whether or not he could reach. This is him getting some sort of value out of the amount of Marines, or the amount of Zerglings, rather, produced. Getting the add-ons, though, is nice. The follow-up attack here for Terran would always be with Stimpec. And in this instance, there is not going to be Stimpec. Not at least for another while. So slowing it all down by like a minute here is kind of big. It's going to give Rogue more freedom to drone up and to recuperate some of the losses that he's had earlier. This is one of those moments where if Clem would have spawned in either of the 2 other locations on the map, so if he would have spawned over here, the add-ons would have spawned on the right side of the buildings too, right? Same for up here. If he would have spawned up here, likewise, the tech lab and the reactor would have spawned in the location that is more protected. Clem, in this particular instance, spawned in the upper left, so sadly for him, the add-ons are exposed. This would have been a much better position, actually, if he would have gone for the double Rex opener in either of the other 2 spawn locations. Frustrating for him. It's one of the few things in StarCraft 2 that you do not control. You cannot control where the add-ons spawn, and likewise, you can also not choose where you're going to spawn out onto the map. There is definitely a little bit of spawn imbalance. Rogue will be happy with that, though. Obviously, Clem, though, he saw where he spawned at the beginning of the game, right? And he chose to go for the double Rex opener. So there's an argument to be made that maybe if you spawn in that location, you shouldn't go for it at all. Either way, double engineering bay right now in the back of the natural. Clem would love to go for a push. Maybe he's going to test the waters. But I'm not so sure. Third command center has landed down onto the low ground. Queens are still hunting around. The pack of queens. Trying to get a revenge for their 2 fallen sisters. Zerglings? Okay, get us around. Careful. Wakey, wakey, Clem. Oh, yo, that's bad. There is, luckily for him, a Banshee going to town in the main base. This is really bad for Rogue. Man, both players actually having some issues. 14, 15 kills? 16? Ooh. Well, that Banshee was pretty much out of energy. On the one hand, losing 6 Hellions here is bad. But I would say 16 drones is quite a bit more terrible. And a creep tumor. Okay, Alaire comes up here for Rogue. Still forced to hold down the drone button. Sneaking out a 4th hatchery as well out front. Not opting to go for the one that may be a little bit more exposed in the upper right. I think this more than makes up for the Stimpec delay. Delay? Let's make that a word. Maybe we should just make it delay. It'd be better. Nah, I think we can make our own words in English. English is like 16 languages in a trench coat anyways. I would like to dub the word delay. Maybe it's already a word. Delay. It's a good word, actually. I like it. This little Ling run by, though, I also do quite like. Mass stim on everybody to kill an Overlord. Man, when I see mass stim like that, I always have to think back of the olden days of StarCraft 2. Like back in Wings of Liberty, during the very early days of StarCraft 2, whenever Zerg would open up Mutas, Terrans would literally just take their entire control group and stim everything, including the Marauders. Like, this was literally normal in 2010, to see players stimming Marauders to chase down Mutalisks. We've come a long way. Marines trying to get some advantages here. But the real advantage is these hatcheries getting sniped. And Clem always lines up these 1-2 punches perfectly It's another great move. This slows down a rogue so much. This creates such a significant delay. And before I look it up, and delay was actually a word. The more I say it, though, the dumber it sounds. I'm gonna Google it. Delay. Delayed? No! Okay, sorry, I gotta go back to the camera. An Old English word from the 19th century? Oh, so it used to be a word. I'm just bringing it back, baby. I'm a bit of an English hipster. I'm wearing my monocle and top hat today as well. What are you wearing? All right, let's go. Additional barracks coming up inside of the main base for Clem. 4th Command Center now. Getting his planetary fortress hat. Ooh, man. The marine hits are nice. Zergling Bailing run by over here, but more and more reinforcing biological units are popping out of those barracks. And his multi-pronged or triple-pronged aggression here for Clem usually benefits him greatly, because this man has multitasking more so than anybody else out there. He snipes the Hydra then. Yeah, you don't want to play the speed game against Clem, Rogue. Okay, well... To be fair, not even Clem can pay attention to all the fights all the time. Yeah, Clem is definitely the fastest, like, in the entire game with this sort of aggression. If you think he can sort out the problem by throwing another curveball in his direction, he is just gonna bat it away. That is not the way you solve any problem against Clem. And now Clem can actually start parade pushing straight through the middle. They are now effectively neighbors. They have both taken the middle, well, the middle base on their side of the map. Clem can now send units out that all start with the letter M. Mine, Medevac, Marine, Marauder, anything. Still though, you gotta respect the hydralisks. But it does feel like we are a long ways off from... Oh, he actually sniped more units over here. It does feel like we're a long ways off from like a hive timing here. At this point, Rogue's very best bet is to try and get a massive fungal growth. The more fungals, the better. But how in the world do you reliably fungal Clem's units? Clem scanning ahead here as well to make sure that there's nothing. Burrows the Widowmine, targets the drone. And this is the man feeling comfortable. He has seen the infestors by now. No energy available on this one, so nothing to be concerned about. Marauders left in the front. Marines are kiting backwards. 3-3 fired up here as well for the Frenchman. 5th Command Center added into the mix. Yeah, and this is Clem on rails. He's just so freaking good at this stage in the game. Like, this precise thing, nobody does it better than him. Like, losing these medevacs? Well, nobody loses medevacs better than Clem does. No, that's not what I meant. You get what I'm trying to say. Additional CCs coming up. Fusion core as well. You know what? I will be able to give... I can give Clem a run for his money for losing medevacs. Yeah, I can, you know... I don't want to flex too much, but I think I can do it. Phalanx? Oh, Fogel? Okay. Little hit squad moving in around the site. Rogue sees it right now for the first time. He needs to reposition his army ASAP. Liberator production coming up as well. Or as Clem likes to call them, Liberators. They need to start with the letter M. Just like the word Mlem. Liquid Clem. Another hit squad yet again. Sliding in around the site. Yeah, and this is just... Like, look, Rogue is not out of this game yet. But it's going nowhere. Like, this is... It's not headed anywhere. Like, some of the fights in isolation are decent. Especially when the fungal growths are there. These fights at the front, he seems to be holding quite well. But look at the supply count right now. We have a Lurker Den and a Hive fired up here. Rogue spending his piggy bank. But he is chasing, man. Look at him. Oh, he's going all the way to the natural. You will not hide, Infester. Clem is ready to sacrifice 30 supply to kill one Infestor at this point, and honestly, it's a good trade. The man's got money for days. Without splash damage, this position is not easy to break. These are +3, soon to be +3. Marines and Marauders, and at this point, I think Rogue must have clicked on one of those units and realized that that is never going to be something he can shut down. Phenomenal series. Yeah. Game number 1 also kind of felt like Clem's game to win, right? Like, I mean, he did really well in the earlier stages of that match. Rogue hiding an expansion, Clem having a bit of a misread, ultimately running dry, but across the board, Clem is just such a monster. When he gets to play his normal game of StarCraft, when he gets to do his multitasking, his double, his triple-pronged aggression, he's just on another level, absolutely destroying Rogue here in game number 3. GG.